Hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. But I'm glad you folks are here. Alex, hello. Heather, nice to see you. Jonathan is here. Andy's here. Susan's here. Hello, Susan. Alex says, having dinner in Abu Dhabi, first class lounge before my Abu Dhabi to Toronto A380 apartments. Nice, Alex. Well done. Well done. Hey, who is Etihad with in terms of their internet connection on board? They're not Starlink, are they? Because I've often been tempted to either to be in one of these aircraft that are Starlink equipped and see if I can actually do a full live stream, or in this case, the reason I'm asking if Etihad is to see if this even listening into a live stream is fully possible in one of these Starlink equipped aircraft. Why just Starlink? It could be all the others as well, Air Canada through Bell or the other partnerships. It would be great to see. I don't know if it was on a recent trip. I think it was to Mexico. That both, trying to think, was it Mexico? I was on an Air Canada flight going, maybe going to Vancouver. Yeah. Going to Vancouver not too long ago, and the speeds on my Air Canada flight, the Wi-Fi speeds were pretty respectable both at the gate and once we were 30,000 odd feet up in the air. So, yeah, if you ever get a chance to tune into one of these or any other live streams that you attend while you're in the aircraft, let me know how it goes because I'm really tempted to check that feature out as well and really test the onboard speeds to see if that really delivers. Susan is saying stream CBC live election results in April on Air Canada, no problems. Nice. Yeah, I think those live feeds are not the ones that are using the same bandwidth as the Wi-Fi on board to that. But yeah, live streaming is just an epic thing by itself. And I've mentioned the story a few times. I watched the Cricket World Cup finals on my flight from Singapore to San Francisco in 23, November 23. And yeah, just such an amazing experience. And more recently, again, actually on that same flight to Vancouver, was the Stanley Cup finals being played. Not was it the final? Yeah, finals. The Oilers or the Jets rather were playing whoever, and the game was on, and in unison, the crowd on the flight was screaming and celebrating, which was fantastic to experience. Yeah, so live TV. I'm all about live TV on board. If you get if you find yourself flying a long haul or a flight that's longer than a couple of hours, if you can find yourself tuning in through a live TV sporting event or any other event, a concert perhaps, that'd be a great experience. Susan is saying streamed it on my phone. CBC. Okay, so CBC Live streamed on the phone is definitely using Wi-Fi connectivity. So yeah, Susan, that's a great data point. So where do we start? Let me tell you a little bit about my Australia trips, a few highlights, a few things I found odd, a few things I enjoyed. First things first, this trip I wasn't expecting it to be at the start of maybe mm, February. So how many ever months ago that is? 4 months ago or so, I found some United availability out of LAX to Melbourne, and this is my niece's birthday. This was my niece's birthday in July, her second birthday, so I had to be there. And so I knew I was going to go. In my mind, I was going to leave it to the very end and see what is available because often in that 3 to 4 month window, when I decided that this was an absolute go, you don't see much. But to my surprise, I found Polaris availability on Aeroplan and found LAX to Melbourne for 87,500 Aeroplan points, which I think is a fantastic value, or I thought was fantastic value at the time, until I found my return leg. And that return leg was booked only a month ago, a month before travel. And my return leg, I was able to find the entire availability from Melbourne to San Francisco to Toronto to Ottawa. So combination of Polaris and then Air Canada, and the entire itinerary was 88,900 and maybe $200 in taxes. So when you put that into context, that's just amazing value going in and out of Australia. So with those redemptions, I don't think I've ever been to Australia for cheaper than that. 160,000 or say 170,000 return in business class. That is just great value, especially for uh, you know a time when it's summer here, winter there, because it's always super expensive to get in and out of Australia. So yeah, and also thanks to United credits that I'd been sort of saving up in my wallet through the Amex offers that we had seen from United in the last couple of years. So I was able to use those United credits to get me from Ottawa to LAX for my leg out. And then on the way, like I said, I was able to find the entire itinerary for super cheap. What is your best value redemption that you've done? My other best value redemption would have been, since we were talking about Etihad, would have been the Etihad first class that popped up on Aeroplan last year, and I booked it. Was super cheap as well, 125,000, 135,000, or something like that in first class. Would have been a great value redemption as well. Was not to be because of the entire thing about my cancel or delay, super delayed flight from Ottawa to Paris, which meant that I was going to miss my connecting flight to Abu Dhabi. I decided to just turn back instead. I've written about this for those that want to read more into detail. You can just go, uh, search for missed flight on Points, Miles, and Bling, and you'll find my recent write-ups. But yeah, let me know what your favorite value redemption in business or first class has been in the recent past. Would love to know how it sort of compares to some that I've done recently. Uh, Okay, I'll wait for your comments to come in through that. But in terms of highlights, I'd never been to, on my way out, since I was going out of LAX, I'd never been to the Star Alliance Lounge in LAX. So I had the opportunity to go and check out the Star Alliance Lounge. And my first Star Alliance lounge venture was again in Paris on that missed connecting flight, uh, surprisingly. And that Paris Star Alliance Lounge is just absolutely amazing. That was some of the best lounge service I had seen. The aesthetics of the lounge and all of that were more leaning first class than business class lounge. And if I'm not mistaken, somebody can double check. I think that Star Alliance Lounge in Paris recently won the Skytrax award for Best Alliance Lounge or something like that. But well worth it if you haven't had a chance to. If you find yourself in Paris flying one of the Star Alliance members or partner flights, then it's well worth it. Anyways, out from that experience of mine, I really was keen to check out the other Star Alliance lounges. So I figured I'll go check out the one in LAX. And the one in LAX also is like really, really nice. It's not as great, as awesome as the one in Paris, but it's really nice. Elevated, but it's definitely not first class feels. They have a nice outdoor terrace as well. The outdoor terrace is was a great spot for plane spotting, but the service levels were off. And by off, I mean it wasn't well kept. Things were dirty. Things were still sitting around outside, just like the used cutlery and things. And I was there for a good hour or more, and yeah, the terrace wasn't maintained as well as, say, a San Francisco Maple Leaf Lounge, for example. So that was a bit disappointing. And also the food in the Star Alliance Lounge in LAX was, I would say, below average. But barring those two things, the aesthetics, the bar, the setup, and all of that was really, really nice. Raul is saying 75K Alaska miles from JFK to LAX to Melbourne to Perth to Brisbane. That's amazing. LAX Melbourne wasn't first. That is unbeatable. Yeah, how could I forget? Alaska has such great partners and such great redemptions, including JAL. If you're able to do that with Alaska, or in this case, I'm assuming LAX to Melbourne wasn't first. What? Oh, were you flying Qantas by any chance, Raul? What airline was this? Can you tell us a little bit about, well, it was a combination of, I'm going to assume, Alaska and Qantas? Yeah, all of them were with Qantas. Oh, yes, because Qantas does fly the JFK LAX, doesn't it, as a fifth freedom? Nice. Oh, that's amazing. Because how long ago was this? Because finding Qantas availability is just a pain in the rear side, and I've pretty much given up. I used to look for Qantas availability quite a bit. I think the last time I flew Qantas was perhaps 2016 uh, on that same route again. Maybe LAX or SFO to Melbourne. But yeah, maybe LAX to Melbourne. All of them in Qantas long time ago, I think Jan 2020. Ah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense because now Qantas has pretty much shut every door from what it seems like has shut every door to redemptions from partner programs. And unless you have Qantas miles in your Qantas program, it's very, very difficult. They've almost gone Cathay or even beyond that in terms of restricting partner awards or restricting their seats on partner programs. So, which is too bad. Great product, by the way, Qantas itself. The last sort of Qantas that I flew was domestic Melbourne, Sydney a couple of times. And they were, again, in business and fantastic business class product, even domestic product. Uh, nice seats, great service. Food was awesome. So all of that was good. Nice. Great redemption, by the way. 75K for the entire bit is just fantastic. Cool. What should we talk about in terms of oh, actually, before I forget, so yeah, Star Alliance Lounge on the way out, and on the way back, I got to experience the Polaris in San Francisco first time, and I really, really loved the Polaris Lounge. It was spread across two floors, great food. The service was good as well. I spent a couple of hours in there, but then I had to walk so much. So I showered in the lounge, I ate some food, I got some work done, and I enjoyed the lounge and all of that and then didn't realize that after because I was connecting onwards to Toronto from on Air Canada, the walk from that Polaris lounge to the terminal, I forget the terminal number, to the terminal that Air Canada uses in San Francisco was honestly 25 minutes solid walk or 20 minutes at least solid walk, and I walk at a brisk pace. So 20-minute walk, and I was sweaty by the time I got to the Air Canada Maple Leaf Lounge in San Francisco. But yeah, so standouts were the lounge itself and that crazy walk. LAX wasn't, uh, I mean, in LAX, because I was doing United to United transfer, I could have stayed in that same terminal and been in the United Club and whatnot. But I chose to check out the Star Alliance Lounge. And even that walk from whichever terminal I landed in from my Chicago flight, uh, all the way through to the Star Alliance Lounge, which is in that main Tom Bradley, I think it's called the main Tom Bradley terminal, the international terminal, was honestly, again, 25-minute walk in tunnels and whatnot. And it all reminded me of all the walking we usually have to do in London Heathrow, and it's not such a good way because these tunnels and whatnot are not always air conditioned. It's super warm, and it's summertime. So yeah, it wasn't the most pleasant of walks, but I was able to do that just for me to be able to experience some of these lounges. No regrets, but just saying that some of these walks were a little too much. Alex says best redemption. That is hard to sort of hard. Oh, that is a hard one. Dallas, Tokyo, Saigon, or Ho Chi Minh, and Hanoi, Tokyo, New York on JAL first class and business combination booked via Alaska. Yeah, I think it was 70K plus 5K for stopover, so 75 each direction. Yeah, like I just said, great redemption, Alex, by the way. Like I said, Alaska is just such a great program. If you can find a good routing, good availability on that, I think Alaska and American come very close to being some of the programs that give the best value redemptions on partner awards. And we've spoken about this entire thing with why I choose to move RBC points into uh, American these days as opposed to into Avios as much. I mean, once I have enough Avios, then I don't bother with those transfers from Avion to Avios. I've been moving my Avion over to American recently for this exact reason because you get these JAL or Qantas I haven't seen, but Alaska and American fully agree that if you're able to get this, both are great programs. Unfortunately, well, speaking of Alaska, I shared screenshots with all of you on our on social media and Discord as well about porter redemptions are now available on Alaska, and even that is such great value because I was seeing as little as like 7,000, 7,500, sometimes even lower one way for positioning flights around East Coast, and even flights going out of say Ottawa to Vancouver or Toronto to Vancouver were under 15,000 each way. A great value with Alaska Miles. Andy says, after the devaluation of JAL and Cathay on Alaska, what are the amazing redemptions? Fair point. Alaska, I mean, with Alaska, what are some of the redemptions? Now you're making me think about these. I'll have to look it up. Can somebody look up the other partners? But yes, fully agree because Cathay has closed the doors, and now we have seen more and more airlines, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on one of the topics. Partner award availability is becoming quite the thing. And if you wanted to understand why why Andy is saying what he's saying in terms of what else is left with Alaska, uh, is because think about what think about the partnerships that we have recently seen, what Aeroplan is doing in bringing these premium redemption partners who are now dynamic in the programs, thinking Emirates, United themselves, and a few Etihad and a few others. What that is really telling you is airlines are becoming myopic more and more in the sense that they don't want to share uh, more of their award space at base levels. They rather put a premium on it. And as long as you're willing to pay that premium in points or cash or whatever else, they're happy to make those available on partner awards too. So to your point, Andy, I agree. Right off the top, I'm unable to think about what are the others because Alaska used to be my go-to for those two exact airlines. Cathay, remember when Cathay used to run the lovely Fifth Freedom from JFK to Vancouver? Gosh, how many times have I done that over the years? And yeah, just through Alaska, amazing redemptions. Haven't engaged much with Alaska since I started focusing on Americans program in the US. But yes, a Condor, yeah, Condor is still good when you can get it at the lowest cost, says Heather. Finnair, but they only release one seat at a time. But Condor gives multiple, pricing goes up, and agents say the prices or space is phantom. Okay. Yeah, with those two gone, still have 200K to burn. So thinking what to do, Andy. Andy, Condor is not bad. To be honest, who else flew Condor recently? I think there was some other chatter going on between Jace and a few others, and somebody flew Condor recently out of West Coast, and they were raving about how nice, how I mean how it exceeded their expectations. Oh, Andy, another Andy, not the same Andy, says, Andy P says, got two passengers or two seats on Condor, YYZ, Frankfurt, Johannesburg for 80,000. Not nice. That is solid. That is solid, Andy. Well done. Well done. I wasn't even thinking Johannesburg. Yeah. Condor could take you all the way through for sure. Uh, Heather says, input my parents on it, and my mom whined it was too warm. Yeah, I mean, I think the too warm thing is a very European, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, is a very European. I find that most flights that are leaving Europe or even sometimes going from North America into Europe, they like to keep their European aircraft airlines like to keep their cabins pretty warm. I'm not sure why that is the case, and I find that North American airlines, with contrast, like to keep their cabins really cool, and I prefer the cooler side of things. I don't want to be warm, while I'm sitting in a cabin, wherever business, economy, or premium. But I'd rather be on the colder side because, as we say, it's easier to layer up than layer down. There are limitations to how much layering down you can do. Let's talk about a couple of things that sort of happened in the last week that caught my attention. The first one being Mastercard. Mastercard has finally announced that they're, stepping into the ultra luxury tier. They're calling it World Legend, which is likely going to be on par with the VIP, the Visa Infinite Privilege tier. So they'll have World Elite, and now World Legend. We don't have much details into what this World Legend thing will be, but what we know is uh, it's coming up soon in the next few weeks, and the new uh, World Legend cards would obviously drop in the US first. And they're in conjunction with announcing that World Legend card. They've also announced a set of features they're calling World Collection, I think. Do I have it in my notes? Mastercard Collection. Yeah, they also announced Mastercard Collection, and that Mastercard Collection will be valid for World Elite, and the New World Legend cardholders. And these would be sort of more packaged experiences around dining, travel, and entertainment packages. So I'm thinking more in terms of how, again, drawing parallels here. I don't know for sure if that's how they'll deliver it, but I'm drawing parallels. So I'm thinking how Amex or Chase are doing it, leaning hard on that dining travel, be it providing more credits, providing more niche access, and things like that. So for dining, travel, entertainment packages, and MasterCard Priceless, which has always been there, will continue to roll its niche experiences that they give out, which you can purchase as a card holder. Yeah, if you actually go on priceless.com and you'll be able to see the MasterCard collection link there. Let's see, unless Heather has already done it. Here's the collection link. Yeah, I quickly wanted to check what they are promoting in the travel package space. It wasn't anything out of the world, to be honest. So it felt like, oh, yeah, okay. So one of the things that caught my attention in that collection piece for that travel component was the exclusive dining spaces in some international airports. And they said first up would be Sao Paulo in Brazil and Mexico City. So these two cities will probably get some exclusive dining spaces for MasterCard holders. I'm assuming based on the World Legend card holder or whatever, you might get some dining credits. You might get access to some niche restaurants or, chef-led eateries inside the airport. And then they were talking about MasterCard lounges, which I assume is just going to be through Dragon Pass. So nothing out of the ordinary there. But let's wait and watch in terms of what comes for dining credits internationally, travel, and or the other piece was they spoke about priority services in some select airport security fast track services rather in some select international airports. So again, this is what they have sort of just teased out. We don't know the details. And of course, in Canada, once the international rollout of that new World Legend card, which again is in my opinion, going to be in that VIP tier, Visa Infinite Privilege tier that we've seen recently in Canada. The usual banks that I think would come out with this. I'm trying to think about the banks that have a robust portfolio of MasterCards here in Canada. I'm thinking BMO, RBC, of course. Rogers Bank has MasterCards. Who else has a good suite? Oh, National Bank has a good suite of MasterCards. So yeah, those would be some of my picks to first drop this World Legend cards here in Canada. So stay tuned. Again, this is just me guessing. The bigger ones like BMO, RBC might be the first ones to drop. Neo, of course, I don't know what the uptake will be with some of these digital digital first providers with the World Legend tier cards, but let's wait and watch because almost all of them exclusively, I mean, almost all of them do World and World Elite. So there's no reason why they wouldn't add another premium layer on top, even for somebody like a Neo. But like I said, the rollout might be phased and we'll wait and see. So few more credit cards, few new credit cards will are expected here in Canada as well, in the US and Canada, but US first, of course, in the next few weeks, and hopefully Canada soon, sooner than later. Heather says the funniest part that makes me feel violent is that they have a section called Experiences Near You, and it's all in Toronto. It is near you, Heather. For you, it's just super easy. It's a gentle 5 hour hop, isn't it? Or a 4 hour hop? Yeah, Amal says near is relative, I suppose. Yeah, it's the same sort of. Ottawa has gotten the platinum, I mean, Amex Platinum dining credits. Ottawa now has a few locations here in town, but for I would say in the last decade, in the last 2 or 3 years, I've seen those come up on the dining credit side of things with Amex Platinum. But on the it never used to be the case. Predominantly, things are still very much Toronto or GTA based when it comes to Amex and things like that. So would I be surprised if these things, when they do roll out, a lot of things are in Toronto and GTA? No, not really. But hopefully, once they launch, then it'll eventually show up in sort of tier two cities, as I like to call Ottawa. Uh, I suppose Victoria would be tier two as well, right? So yeah, fingers crossed. Let's see what we get. Um, yeah, so that was That was Mastercard. The other sort of news that caught my attention as recently as yesterday, perhaps, or day before, Gary from View from the Wing got my attention with his post about United. United had a call, what do they call it? The earnings call. And in their earnings call, United executives hinted at sort of business light. And that's my word that I'm using, business light product, or segmenting premium cabins as well. So basically, what we've seen from, say, a Qatar and a few other Middle Eastern carriers. And Delta had already announced it that they'll be doing these business light tickets or award seats as well. Yeah, Alex. Yeah, you're correct, Alex. Alex says Delta mentioned business light too. Yeah, and United is just joining Delta, I suppose, in that announcement or tease that they did on that earnings call. Let me know what you think. Because on one hand, I'm thinking, you know what? It won't be as bad because if I'm able to, as somebody that likes to sleep, eat a little bit, and then quickly go to sleep on these flights, I wouldn't mind if these business light seats are available closer to Saver Award levels. Um, and or the other way of thinking about it is uh, that it's not so much stripping down or segmenting. It's just they are making things like lounges and extra baggage and priority airport access and things like that uh, that you would typically get with a Delta Premium product or a United Polaris will now be sort of a slight upsell. And in my case, I'll just talk about myself. I'll wait for you to comment as to how you see it. As somebody that doesn't travel with any checked luggage and has Nexus, I wouldn't be too miffed if I'm able to find more availability just because they are business light and I'm able to spend more at saver level awards as opposed to these dynamic prices where sometimes when I need a flight, it'll be like 200,000 one way. Um, so yeah, that's my opinion. But if you are a road warrior and if you are the true business class traveler, even if a company is paying for you or whatever, I can see people not taking this in the most positive way. Um, yeah, and business light is, Alex is saying, business light is what? No lounge, less luggage and weight, economy food. No, I don't think it'll go. Oh, I hope it doesn't go as far as economy food and business class. Alex, I think based on what they've hinted and based on what Delta has mentioned, it'll be no lounge, no priority services, including, check bag will be a fee and things like that. I think those two are the big ones. No airport priority, no check-in priority, and things like that. So priority services and lounge are the big ones. And the seat itself, like pre-booking your seats in advance or selecting a seat in advance would be for a fee as well. So all of these things will now be fee-based. I I really don't know how logistically they'll be able to pull off this food thing. I think they'll leave the food because if there is economy food and business, why the heck are you even paying that kind of money in points or cash, right? So I think they'll leave the food piece alone. You might see, uh, yeah, you might see segmentation when it comes to, I don't know, I was going to say PJs, maybe. What are some of the other uh, you may not get your plushie toy, you may not get your PJs right off the back. I don't know. I'm just thinking, but yeah, I think priority services, uh, advanced selection of seat and lounges are the big ones. And for this community of points travelers and whatnot, with enough credit cards in tow and enough status with Star Alliance and whatnot, I think most of us would be okay. But that said, I think there's enough to complain about. I'm just trying to find where I would fit in or where I see myself so that I don't feel like I'm losing out on much. Like I'm trying to put a positive spin on it, but not really, just for myself. Because if this happens to me, I'm thinking, would I be okay? And then the answer is, yeah, I think I'll be okay. I'll be fine. I have other alternatives that will get me into a lounge, that will get me priority access like Nexus and things like that. And I don't travel with luggage, so that piece doesn't bother me as much. That said, I'm not saying what applies to me applies to everybody. Of course, you travel differently, and this might be the worst thing for you. So let me hear it. Uh, Heather says no food, bathroom in the back, middle seat. You'll pay and thank them for the experience. Alex says no lounge, baggage restrictions, no priority security. Yeah, I would do that since I can't see them taking priority boarding. I think somebody may have mentioned priority boarding as well is not going to be a thing. So instead of getting zone one, you might get zone two. Because zone right now, if you have, say, a Polaris or a Delta Premium, you automatically get zone one. You might be zone two. But again, we'll have to wait and see what happens in execution as opposed to. Yeah, zone two is fine. Three, I don't know, Alex. I'm not going to go down to three as if I have a choice. But I think zone two. Imal says if you have a J seat, zones shouldn't matter since it won't be crowded. Yeah, true. Unless you travel with a lot of carry-on. Uh, and if you're flying, think domestic flying. I've seen enough times where I'm flying domestic business class or domestic first, as they like to call it in the US. I get in and I'm one of the last passengers in that first class cabin, and pretty much everything is taken. So, I mean, cabins, the overhead bin space is taken. That's happened to me. I've seen that happen to others all the time. So I wouldn't be as sort of confident about, oh, just because you have J, you don't want zones shouldn't matter. Sometimes they do. Oh, that's true. Aimal, in your case, you'll now be traveling with a kid in tow. So of course you want that zone one, especially if you're paying for first class or business class, because you want to be able to stack all of your extra luggage that you'll be traveling with. So yeah, don't get complacent about zones. Uh, well, the good news is Air Canada and none of the other Canadian ones so far have talked about any of this segmenting. The other one that I wanted to give you folks a heads up is last call on the Tangerine. Tangerine right now has an amazing cash bonus for new clients, which is up to $500. And this is the highest we've ever seen. I think highest I've seen across the board between Tangerine and other digital providers, digital first banking providers. So 500 is the max we've seen other 700, 800 offers from the mainstream banks like BMO, RBC has had it and things like that, but not Tangerine. So if you're not a client with Tangerine, this might be a great time to sort of sign up for your no fee checking accounts. I already am a client. And I think their standard offering is $250 dollars. And this, right now it's doubled up. The deadline is 21st of July. So basically a couple more days. So if you are not a client with Tangerine, uh, but wouldn't mind doing a few changes to your banking, this might be a great time to rope in $500. And if there's nobody in your household that's done it, if two or three of you do it, hey, 1,000 bucks at least, if not 1,500 or more, sounds fantastic to me. Heather says they should really separate out the things we actually want. I can handle whatever, but let's not call it premium. But if I could reserve my overhead space just for me, maybe. Goldie says most of us don't like low fare airlines, yet the major airlines are doing the same gradually. Yeah, I mean there's segmentation, and I did have a thought around this, and now it's slipping my mind as I was talking. There's two ways of looking at this, right? The one group that constantly travels in business like us will of course see this as a devaluation, but to the people that constantly can only afford, say, up to premium economy, would see this as a positive, right? Because they'll have to pay just a little bit more, maybe not three times, four times the price of premium economy. Maybe they'll pay 1.5 times the price of premium economy and get access into that revered business class or first class cabin, right? So for that group, I think it would make a lot of sense to offer these business light. And selfishly, like I said, for this points community, I hope as and when the segmentation sort of implementation happens and business light comes through, that we'll see a little more saver award space. And to be honest, if you had the option of business light for say 55,000 or 60,000 going to Europe from North America to Europe versus a full-fledged business premium seat for say 150, 160, or we've seen up to 200,000. What would you pick? I think I would give up a few of these things and be like, you know what? I'd rather just sleep and have and be relaxed when I get into Europe. So just thinking out loud. So there's always going to be those groups that will benefit from this, from the segmentation, and especially for the ones that are paying out of pocket. I think airlines will see a decent amount of people that'll do that. And don't forget, we through that MasterCard announcement and everything in this space is telling us people are more willing to pay more for experiences, to pay more out of pocket for niche things that they want to do. Hey, PMB experiences, we'll talk a little bit about that later. But yeah, people are willing to pay for premium experiences, premium travel, and everything. So while we are seeing credit cards pivot completely to that higher tier, high spenders, or move their product to cater to high spenders. This is perhaps the airline's way of doing it, where they're not stripping away things, but they're trying to segment it such that folks that have deeper pockets will be willing to pay a little bit extra to get their seat advanced as an advanced selection, to get lounge access by paying a little bit more. So I'm sure there'll be bundled packages that they'll be able to sell to these business class passengers. And let's be honest, they're talking about packages to perhaps the true business class passenger that's coming in, right? And they're not going to forget about us. Of course, even if you get your Saver Award in Business Lite, they'll still be able to give you additional points or cash options to upgrade yourself from Business Lite to proper business. So yeah, it depends on which way you look at it. But yeah, as much as I agree with the essence of what Goldie is saying when he says that major airlines are doing sort of going the low fare airlines. I yeah, I think this segmentation is here to stay. We first saw it with luggage, we then saw it with other things, with seats and things in economy. It's just following up and coming in because the ancillary revenue has been such a big uh, bottom line for these airlines, and it keeps growing, right? These ancillary revenues, revenues out of loyalty programs, are continue to just skyrocket. So I can see why they're trying to do that because there's a market and a demand that's ready for it. Heather is saying, I'm more interested in airlines that let me buy two seats for the price of one. Who are these airlines? I'm thinking about Air New Zealand, SkyCouch, but it's, yeah, you could buy up to three seats at the same time, but it's not the cost of three seats. It's slightly less. But who are we talking about here? Uh, oh, Delta, United, Etihad, they're all doing buy one, get one. Or, huh? Book an extra seat on a flight. Okay, cool. Yeah, I suppose that's a decent way of doing it if you find yourself stuck in economy to buy an extra seat for the price, buy two seats for the price of one would be decent. Greg says, I had great experience on a couple of low-cost carriers, allowing me to buy two seats for one person was a great value for me. Nice. Well done, Greg. Yeah, if I was going to fly economy anyways, then two for one might be the way to do it, especially if they manage that piece well and they know capacity won't be, I mean, aircraft won't be at capacity, then why not sell two for one kind of promotions for sure? Heather's saying many do, but some only for person of size and not with points. Okay, cool. And speaking of pieces that I wrote, I also wrote a little bit about eSIMs. And I was surprised. I thought I was just late into the game, but I'm always surprised how many people still don't know about this because when I shared it on Instagram, particularly the amount of messages I was getting on in my general and the request folders, the one, not your primary people that you interact with, was pretty serious in the sense that they didn't know about this. The fact that, well, not just here in Canada, but you could get free eSIM plans if you're a MasterCard or a Visa cardholder, because MasterCard partners with FlexiRoam, and FlexiRoam is a eSIM provider, and likewise Visa has partnered with GigSky, a company that also provides eSIM plans. And if you have these two, if you have any of these cards, multiple of these cards that you could use, then you can use each of those cards to get yourself that free eSIM plan once a year on each card. So I've highlighted that on my post. So if you haven't done that, definitely do that. And how many of you have tried multiple? cards and gotten your free eSIM. So, like, you know what I mean? I can confirm that that can be done. So if you have multiple Mastercards that are eligible, you can use one at a time and get your multiple ones. And each card is eligible for one free eSIM a year, sometimes one free eSIM one time only, that kind of thing. But for this group that I'm speaking to, we all have multiple cards, many a cards, many a Visa Infinites, many a Visa or many a MasterCard World Elites. That's where you get some of the best value in terms of using, in terms of trying out these eSIM plans. The reason I like that is because we have access to so many of these cards. We should be able to play around with at least these two services, FlexiRoam and GigSky, and be able to determine which one works best. There was conversations around compatibility of Android phones versus Apple phones and things like that. At least you could try and do all of that through your free eSIM plans without having to pay into it and then figure out that, hey, it might not even work for you. So MasterCard and FlexiRoam offer 1 gig of global data for World MasterCard customers, and World Elite MasterCard customers can get 3 gigs of global data. And yeah, each one will remain valid for 5 days from activation. Hot tip, and as we were talking with Chris and others in our chat there, is always buy it and activate your plan, or buy your plan and activate it before leaving the country so that when you land, it's ready to go. If you land there and then need Wi-Fi to activate it, that's a bit of a problem. So make sure you activate, no matter which company you use, you purchase and activate it before you leave Canada in this case, or US, or wherever you're making that purchase. Because again, MasterCard FlexiRoam Visa GigSky is not exclusive to Canada. It's across the world, globally. So no matter which MasterCard you have in which part of the world, you should be able to make avail your World Elite should give you access to free eSIM, just like a Visa Infinite would give you access to free eSIM. Uh, yeah, and same thing, and not just the first time use. If you like something, if you're a repeat customer, then you get additional discounts and so on and so forth. I'll talk a little bit about Saley as well because that's the one I've landed on after using a few of these. I've used both. I've used GigSky, I've used FlexiRoam, I've used Saley, and I've sat down with. I mean, I've gotten stuck with not stuck. What's the right word? I have my mind set with Saley simply because uh, their product has worked really well for me, pretty seamless. And every 2 3 months I get a free offer from them, which is, hey, claim your offer for 5 gig or 3 gig based on how much I'm purchasing from them. So they've been pretty good to me, so I keep it that way. Free sim with Visa and GigSky I haven't mentioned. So Visa Infinite Privilege, the highest tier, gets 2 complimentary 1 gig eSIMs or plans, 50, which are valid for 15 days, very generous. And Visa Infinite and Visa Infinite Business Cards get 1 complimentary 1 gig plan, which remains valid for up to 15 days globally, which is fantastic. And then you can get up to 30% discount on additional plans or subsequent plans that you buy with them. So yeah, give them a shot, give them a go. And if you want to give Saley a go, Saley is not partnered with either Visa or Mastercard or any other program right now, but you can if you want. Here, I'm gonna share my Saley referral code. My referral code is Anshul 5321. So ANSHUL 5321. If you want to use that code, you'll get $5 in your account, and you can use that first time eSIM for essentially free. And plans, much like the other ones, plans start as low as $1.99 for 1 gig plans. So yeah, you can easily try them out as well. Have you tried Roamless, Heather? I have not. I've tried Aeralo, I've tried Flexi Roam that is, and I've tried GigSky, and I've tried Saley. But yeah. Uh, Oh, Grimsley is here. Grimsley says FlexiRoam has been pretty bad for them. They don't work consistently in a lot of countries. You see full bar, but there's no internet in most areas. Have to move around in the area to find a spot the internet works. Yeah, that's so far, and I fully agree that I've not been to, like, what's the right term? Like countries that would struggle with infrastructure like that, this kind of infrastructure, I haven't been to because what are the ones I've been to recently? I mean, many countries, but mostly North America, Europe, Middle East, Asia, and all cities and countries which are fairly sort of nuanced in terms of infrastructure availability. So can't speak to Grimsley's Flexi Roam experience. But in my case, where was I? Perhaps was in Bangkok with FlexiRoam, and it was okay. But nothing has worked as seamlessly with my Apple phone as Saily in my experience, so I've stuck with them. Oh no, Grimsley says even in London. Oh, sorry to hear that. Right, but at least, hey, look, Grimsley, if you're doing it with the Mastercard partnership, at least you didn't have to pay out of pocket to learn this, right? So yeah, which is why I feel it's pretty decent value that you can get out of the multiple cards that we all have, and you can keep switching them for the next, for the next, for the next. If you find something nice, you can still go through the gamut of your uh, World Elite cards or World cards or Visa Infinites or Visa cards until you find the one that works best for you. Mateus is asking, are these benefits only for Canadian cards or do they work for US cards as well? Mateus confirming that it works for all MasterCards and all Visa cards. They are not exclusive to Canadian cards. Well, Andy says, I like Roamless's flexible SIMs. Pricey to use exclusively, but good if you just need to connect briefly right after landing or to pair with their fixed SIMs. Uh, when a connection drops or something. Okay, so Andy, you're talking about flexible as in physical SIM and eSIM, and you can swap between the two. Decent. But yeah, these plans that we're talking about are exclusively eSIM options, but good to know that the roamless flex SIMs, which is eSIM and physical SIM plans, can be used interchangeably. And to be honest, if your needs are fairly brief, uh, uh, the internet connection that you get with, say, a Bell partnership with Air Canada and them, you can even get your physical SIM. All of those are pretty decent value when you think about keeping you connected as soon as you land somewhere, because the internet is still going. You're able to connect in the aircraft through that same Wi-Fi and, you know, put your messages through to your loved ones or friends or whoever you're trying to coordinate your travels with, that you're there. Mateus says, I just redeemed for my Porter World Elite Mastercard and only got 1 gig instead of 3 gig. I guess there's still some glitches. Interesting. You may want to write to them, Mateus, because it's a published benefit that they have. So again, if you go onto my post or just go Google Mastercard Flexi Roam partnership. That first page, it's a very defined benefit, and if you're not getting that, I would just pop over to support in their app. Get the apps, of course, that's the best way. Be no matter which company, I've realized all of these are best done with their app, and customer support can be a little off. In my case with Saley, it's been fantastic, which is why I've stuck with them. But they'll be able to confirm for you as to why your card did not sort of get the intended 3 gig thing that you were looking for. Have we checked off everything? Oh, and then of course, last but not least, finally, the mystery has been unveiled. That happened, if you remember, a few weeks ago, I quickly shared things on social and also in the Discord channel about a new lounge that our good friend Barry had sent me pictures or shared pictures with me about a domestic lounge that seemed to have been set up in Montreal Airport, Pierre Trudeau, on the domestic side, right next to where the Air Canada Maple Leaf Lounge is on the domestic side. And we weren't sure which lounge it was. I was able to confirm through sources that it was an Aspire lounge, but now we have a little more information on that, that it's an Aspire Amex lounge, which is great to see that this is a new partnership. Aspire and Amex have partnered together for this lounge, domestic lounge in Montreal, which is now up and running. They had a soft launch a couple of weeks ago, like I had shared at the time, but looks like they're now ready or very close to doing an official launch and promoting their services and such, because I'm getting to hear a lot more about that. So I haven't checked it out yet, but the next time I'm around in Montreal, I'll be sure to hop over and see if I can can quickly dip in and see what services they offer. But by the pictures and things, it looks really nice, almost like a cafe style, grab and go things, small places, good connectivity, places to sit down and do your work. Not huge capacity, by the way. Which is just fine, as I've learned that my experiences through Air Canada Cafe have taught me that I'm not always wanting to sit in lounges for hours and hours unless I'm out for an international trip or on a big layover. I often tend to go in and out of cafe style lounges a lot more, and I don't mind doing that as a quick grab and go kind of thing. Have we missed out on any oh, how can I not talk about the two fantastic Points, Miles, and Bling, or PMB events that are solidly confirmed and on the map now? The first one, of course, is the one in September coming up, is the Ottawa meetup. So Ottawa meetup, we still have some spots available. I think four spots available last I checked on that meetup. So if you have a chance to come by, drop by to Ottawa, come. We'll have a great time. The theme of this particular meetup is going to be maximizing credit card points. And I'm just leaving it at a high level. But if you've attended my previous meetups, you know that we dig deep, and we'll be doing very structured activities around these credit card point maximization and talking about the best ways to use your credit cards and points. So yeah, if you haven't signed up yet, definitely do. We are already up to 35 people have been confirmed for this, and I have spot for four more because I am going to be the 40th, and that's the limit to my meetups, or at least to this meetup coming up in Ottawa, September 6th. So definitely sign up for that. Through our Discord channel is the Toulouse, France, and this is the recently launched PMB Experiences banner. As you've seen with MasterCard, with Chase, with Amex, everybody's leaning on this experience bit. And as I have learned through the Air Canada behind the scenes tour that we did a couple of months ago, experiences are near and dear, not just to me, but to a lot of us in the points community. So PMB Experiences has arrived as a separate brand where I'll be promoting a lot more experience-based sort of, I don't want to call them meetups because there'll be more small group tours that will be doing globally. The first one that we've launched is to Toulouse, France. And yes, we'll be checking out the Airbus facility, including A380 SIM, the A350 facility lineup. We have a bit of media access behind the scenes going on while we are there. We'll be doing walking tours, food tours, a couple of dinners, everything included in that trip itself, and that's coming up for a 2-day trip for a lot of us. So those are the two solidly on the map. If you're not able to get to one, try the other. Ottawa, Toulouse, France are the two. All right, folks. Take care. Thank you so much. Ever so grateful for this forum, for you folks that joined me. And again, thanks again. Cheers. Bye.